I said it earlier. You really think you need to pay your dues to have true success in athletics as a coach. And to walk in on a team that already has a 30-game unbeaten streak and then go out and have to play a season. And I've always felt that when you play sports, you don't play not to lose, you play to win. And this is one thing this team understood. We talk about these young men. To me, they're the gold standard of what soccer teams are all about. You talk about athleticism, you talk about speed, you talk about a will to win, young men at that time who were willing to work and pay the price and the sacrifices that are part of truly being successful. And they were there and they accomplished that. And for that, I've always been extremely proud. And if I had to go to war with the team today, this is the team I'd go to war with, because they truly were outstanding in their day, and I guarantee you they'd be every bit as successful today. What I would like to do at this time is let Coach HOH, when I came here, actually I'd received a letter from Phil Postel to come to Jesuit to go into administration after my first year and to come here and take over the basketball program. He'd seen my teams in basketball play in San Antonio. Of course, Larry Hargett had just won the state championship, and Larry thought he was going to get a college job, and it didn't quite work out. And as Phil said, how am I supposed to fire Larry? He just won the state championship. I wouldn't either. So you had your choice. Would you like to coach basketball? I noticed you played soccer at UConn. UConn won national championships, Billy McDonald. But at that time, I said I'd much prefer, and I was really missing soccer, to get back into soccer. And what a team to walk into. But Vance, who had been their head coach, became the assistant coach, and you couldn't ask for somebody who came in, supported the program more, who did a better job as an assistant coach or co-head coach or whatever we wanted to call him. At the end of the year, we had a 54-game unbeaten streak. We won the state championship in a penalty kick shootout, and it couldn't have been more exciting. The team the following year won their first 6 games before we lost a game, and we ended up with a 60-game unbeaten streak, 56 wins, 4 ties. But these men behind me were the instruments of that. Coaches don't go out and win games, players do. And these guys are the gold standard.
Back in the 70s, the light didn't shine on the soccer program quite so much as it does now, or especially as it does tonight. But these guys are the ones who really put the foothold at Strike Jesuit for that program. Between then and now, it was one of those things that I would always hope there'd be an opportunity to talk about, but almost never was. I would hope for things like an icebreaker at work where the program would be, write 4 things down about yourself. 3 of them are true and 1 of them is a lie. And perhaps I would write something about what this team did and my participation in it. And they'd kind of look at the sheet and they'd look at me and they'd look at the sheet and look at me and going, that's got to be a lie, right? This whole thing I just think is really cool. The event last night was very special. I got to spend some time with Charlie and Tom and Carlos and just having a fabulous time. The interesting things, like when I was walking through the parking lot, I spotted Charlie across the parking lot. I haven't seen Charlie in, 30 years?
31.
But I knew Charlie's walk. And I hollered, Charlie! And so we started talking, and after the pleasantries of what are you doing and what are you doing, I just had to say, God, Charlie, isn't this cool? And Charlie said, yeah, this is really cool. At halftime, they had us out there, and I ran into Ralph, a classmate of mine, and I remember saying to Ralph, again after the pleasantries, Ralph, isn't this really cool? And Ralph said, yeah, this is really cool. So, and then after that, Tim took us on a tour of the campus, and my goodness, I was here fifth graduating class, and we had, I guess the new building was the library, and they wouldn't even let us go in the library yet. And as a matter of fact, on the tour last night, Tim would not let us go in the library. So anyway, like I said, I think this is really cool, and if I keep using that phrase, I apologize, but that's just something you have to deal with. Most of the people in the room did not have the opportunity to see these guys play, and doggone it, that's too bad. So I just want to tell you a little bit about these guys. You know, some of them I got to work with for 3 years, others not so long, but a really fabulous experience. I want to tell you what the characteristics of that team were. First of all, they were highly skilled. It was not a team that just had one or two stars. It seemed like the all-state people varied from year to year. And it would be interesting in the 2 years that I got to sit in the conversations about all-state teams that the coaches would go, well, this guy or that guy, and it's like if everybody got what they wanted, it would all just be straight Jesuit guys. That's not what they wanted, and they didn't let us do it, but that was okay. They were very knowledgeable about the game, and let me tell you how knowledgeable they were. They had to teach the game to me. Nobody believes that. I guess that's good. This is true. The way this happened was I was hired as a math teacher here, and after I agreed to do that, Father Postel sent me a letter and said, I know your experience may be limited, but would you consider being a coach in the soccer team? So what I did was I called my girlfriend, who's here tonight, my wife Christina, who is still my girlfriend. I said, let's go look at a soccer game. So we went to watch the Dallas Tornado play. And sure enough, I thought, this looks cool. Why don't I do that? So when I got to school, I had to tell the guys, I said, I don't know this game. You're going to have to teach me the game. And they did. They knew the strategy. They knew the rules of the game. I didn't know any of that. So imagine, here's a team who's got a mild-mannered math teacher as their coach. And what do they accomplish? 16 wins, 3 losses, 1 tie, a city championship, and a state championship. Not bad for a bunch of guys with a rookie coach who doesn't even know the game. Second year, they finally had a coach who at least knew the rules. So, and of course, some of them are a year older. So what do they do that year? 21 wins, no losses, 1 tie, city championship, state championship all again. Third year, what do? They finally got a coach who knows the game, who knows how to coach kids. And what do? They do the hardest thing that there is, a three-peat. What a group of guys. I would also say that they were tenacious and competent. Bill and I might tell you that maybe too confident from time to time. But one of the stories that I remember about that was in the 1976 state championship. It was at Dallas Jesuit, and there was no question that the coach at Dallas Jesuit had tried to set up the tournament so that they would win. They did it as a round-robin tournament, and the last game was to be between us and Dallas Jesuit. We had a game immediately before that. Dallas Jesuit, no, they're resting. And so after the game, I get the guys, I say, just walk over there, let's just sit down, we'll do what we have to do, and we're not going to go out there until it's time, the referee starts the game. So I'm talking to the guys, and the other thing to know about this day was the wind was blowing tremendously to the north goal. And the entire weekend, the ball was always on the north end of the field. And I'm thinking, these guys are pretty tired. We need to take the win the first half and then just see if we can hold them off and play some good defense. The guys come up to me and they say, nope, we want to go into the wind first. We want to nail the coffin right away. And sure enough, maybe somebody remembers, I think the score was 2-0 after the first half. 2-0 after the first half. The guys from Dallas Jesuit are demoralized. They don't even get the ball in their half the next half of the game. So year 3 victory. The other thing about it, though, is these guys absolutely loved the game. They played in the rain. They played in the cold. They played in the rain and cold. They played when not many people were there. and any of you guys who were here in the 70s, this may be meaningful. We couldn't even get Kathy Tomini to come out and watch our games. Anyway, I just think this is like I said, a really cool event. But you know, the best thing about this has been getting to see these guys as men. The championships are great, the records are great, but really what I'm most pleased about is what these formerly boys have turned into as men. It's really been a fabulous experience talking to them, finding out what they've been doing, and I'll tell you, it's amazing what these guys have been doing. Bill and I are still in education, and the thing that we know about being in education is that business is about the kids. And for me, and I think for Bill too, if we had anything at all to do in turning those boys into these men, I've got to say, that's really cool.